The next chapter is about to begin. Join us live every Tuesday and Thursday for brand new episodes of the American Contractor Show. Our mission is to bring you the latest tools, innovations, and knowledge to help you become the most informed contractor in your market. Knowledge is the ultimate power, and we are connecting you with the most knowledgeable minds in our industry. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. American Contractors, I hope you're ready. This one's for you.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Merlin Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the for changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I as a contractor appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor that's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
Good morning, everybody. Lead meteorologist John Choquette here for our daily. I'm not going to really say hail forecast. It's more of a hurricane forecast. A little spoiler alert, there's no hail in the forecast. We got a ton to talk about in the tropics here. I see in the comments, yes, we have a lot of named storms all in the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico all at once. Our main focus, of course, is going to be Sandy, who recently became a hurricane just a few minutes ago. So thanks to C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, our Supplement Pounds Claim. Check all of them out in the description below if you're watching us here on Facebook, for always being our sponsors. So again, those weather headlines, there is no hail to talk about. Next few days, probably most of this week, but in replacement of that, the tropics are flirting with record high activity where we have quite a bit going on across the tropics. We're going to go over all that, and of course, we're going to do a full breakdown of Hurricane Sally. Sally was a tropical storm up until about an hour and a half ago, where she has really just blossomed into what is a very quickly intensifying hurricane. So again, hail forecast for today, nothing really expected, nothing expected tomorrow. I could just do this probably for all week. There's not really anything expected across the country, which jumps us straight to our tropical update here, where the majority of our time is going to be spent talking about the tropics. So here's everything that's going on, the latest NHC update from about 11 o'clock this morning. And for those of you wondering, this is the most active time, the most named storms in the Atlantic at one time since the 70s. And if we manage to squeak out one more, it would be the record most going all at once. We are in peak season, and this year is really trying to flex pretty hard here. Sally's no longer a tropical storm. This is a little outdated here, so this is going to be this is Hurricane Sally. We got Hurricane Paulette, which went directly over Bermuda over this morning. We have Tropical Depression Ren, Tropical Storm Teddy. We have Tropical Storm Vicky, just formed a little while ago. We're about to run out of the alphabet here. We're going to definitely end up in the Greek alphabet coming up in a little bit, with a couple other systems possible over the next couple days, and pretty likely I think one of these tropical waves will be the next system coming into the next 5 days. Let's break them down one by one. Hurricane Paulette, she made landfall in Bermuda. The whole eye went directly over the island and has now since passed off to the north. It's thankfully just a Category 1 hurricane impacting Bermuda. She's now 65 miles north of Bermuda. Winds at 100 miles an hour at 970 millibar pressure. And moving north at 14, she's starting to speed away a little bit here. And thankfully, there will not be any land interaction with Paulette. So after pushing past Bermuda, she is going to go off into the Atlantic, probably becoming a Category 3 hurricane by tomorrow morning, and then die off in the middle of the North Atlantic over the course of this week. Asking, are you going to live stream? Yes, I will get to that in just a minute. I'm going to go over all the other tropical systems, and we'll do a full breakdown of Sally. We got Tropical Storm Teddy here, looking a little disorganized. I don't think he's going to do a whole heck of a lot in the near term, but long term, I think Teddy will become a hurricane as well. 40-mile-per-hour winds. Maximum way out in the middle of nowhere, 1,275 miles west of Cabo Verde, and moving west about 14 miles an hour. And you see here, Teddy by this weekend should be a major hurricane off in the Atlantic. And unless he manages to go by Bermuda, this is probably going to be mostly a fish storm staying out in the middle of the Atlantic. Thankfully, since we have quite a bit of other storms going on. Then Vicky here, this is right off the coast of Africa, just formed earlier this afternoon in the far eastern Pacific. About 350 miles to the west-northwest of Cabo Verde, 45-mile-per-hour winds, 1,002 millibars, moving northwest at 6 miles an hour. Vicky is not going to do a lot. I think she's just going to be a tropical storm and kind of peter out by this weekend in the middle of the Atlantic. So Vicky is not going to really do too much. And with that, that leads us to talking about the big kahuna, the main reason why we're doing this. I've had to update this graphic, mind you guys, I think about 3 times from when I started putting everything together for today this morning to right before doing this video. There's been a whole lot of stuff going on. You can see I took this one specific section of the GIF here to show it almost looks like a bomb going off in the middle of Sally here. She basically got rid of any shear, anything inhibiting her strengthening, and she went from a tropical storm to an exploding hurricane here, moving gradually to the west-northwest. Kind of shifted. It almost looks like she's moving north, but it's more just the explosion of all of those cold tops of the storms and everything. Moving generally west-northwest, and she's going to slow down to a crawl as she moves towards Mississippi and possibly even as far east into Alabama. Latest update here, winds at 90 miles an hour. This morning, winds were at 65. The central pressure has been dropping very rapidly. It's called rapid intensification, where we started, I think when I first updated this, it was 991, something like that, and then just kind of dropping like a rock here. Would not be surprised if Sally's a Category 2 by the next update this afternoon. Moving west-northwest at 7, this is expected to slow down to a crawl and then a gradual turn to the north. You see here in the National Hurricane Center's update, we have what looks to be moving towards Louisiana, likely going to be making landfall. I'm saying somewhere between Gulfport and Mobile, Alabama. The exact point, that's going to kind of go back and forth here, but I think New Orleans, you're not going to see a direct impact from this. I think it's going to be Gulfport. Biloxi is probably your center point right now, possibly as far east as Mobile, possibly even as far east as Florida. Things really get crazy here. We have hurricane warnings in effect for coastal Louisiana, all the way through New Orleans, through all of the coastal sections of Mississippi and all of coastal Alabama. Maximum expected wind speed here for Sally moving into the coast tomorrow evening into Mississippi is right now at 105 miles an hour. That's just below Category 3 strength. Based on what we're seeing right now with how much Sally is rapidly intensifying and there's no signs of that slowing down at the moment, I would not be shocked if at the next update here at about 4 p.m. we will have the potential of being a Category 3 hurricane making landfall in Mississippi. This is, of course, bad news for the folks here along the coast. You don't want to hear major hurricane, but it's starting to look more likely now that she's really starting to take off here with the potential of a major hurricane moving into the Gulf Coast into tomorrow. So, of course, somebody asked about live streaming. Yes, right now, Derek is en route to the Mississippi coast. I'm not along for the ride on this one. Letting a couple of the other meteorologists go check out this hurricane. So we'll be doing kind of double coverage. We'll talk about stuff here on the green screen, and of course we will have the live cut-ins from Derek for anything that we get here with the storm. I think I'll have to ask him, but as they're driving down, they may do an update. Heading down, of course, do updates on location tomorrow throughout the storm as it's coming, and then of course during the storm they'll probably have an update live stream as well. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow us here on Facebook. The majority of the streams are going to be on Facebook Live, much like what we did with Laura a couple weeks ago. It's a little easier, a little less bandwidth for us to just kind of focus in on one thing. So make sure you check that out, and we'll be pushing that out here, and of course doing more forecast updates. With everything you're going to see here, we're going to have the update again tomorrow, possibly even again later today if there's some major developments that happen, or if Derek doesn't have time to do an update this evening or whatever. We'll keep an eye on Facebook here on Hail Trace, and we will give you guys the down low. So this is our Sally impacts map. This is subject to change, of course. I have Sally as a category 2 on this graphic already. I just kind of got ahead of the continuous development here. So category 2, we have the winds, expected wind gusts. We have the storm surge potential. I'm thinking moderate surge for the New Orleans area, for Gulfport, Biloxi, and possibly even towards Mobile. Again, this is all subject to change with where that landfall is going to be. And here is your gust potential. You can see I have whoops, dang it. I'm going to roll that back and kind of show you guys where we're expecting that track to be, kind of moving up pretty much right over Biloxi and then into Alabama. So max gust potential, the brightest blue here is 95 plus. Instead of saying the Cat 2, I just kind of went, where's your best chance of seeing category 2 or greater wind gusts? So that's going to be along coastal Louisiana, the whole coast of Mississippi, pretty much from I-10 point south, and possibly as far east as Mobile, Alabama. That's your best chance for, again, that category 2 or stronger winds. That's close to 100 miles an hour or stronger. Again, this is all subject to change. We'll have an update for this tomorrow as we kind of see what the maximum strength of Sally ends up being, along with the storm surge potential. It really looks like it might be pretty intense here across Mississippi, as Sally's going to be moving very slowly and moving pretty much dead on. So you can get a lot of that water feeding Lake Pontchartrain tonight into tomorrow morning. And then we also have a lot of the water feeding into Mississippi. I think Bay St. Louis is already getting some coastal flooding so far. So I think there could be some serious storm surge with this storm. And then, of course, the flooding rains are going to be another problem, too. Again, we're going to be sitting here for a couple days with a lot of rain. So with that, I got city impacts as a new graphic we got. So for Gulfport and the Biloxi area, so basically coastal Mississippi, I'm thinking moderate storm surge, very high. The biggest impact's going to be flooding, at least right now. Again, subject to change. I'm saying moderate for wind damage. So category 2 winds, again, around 100 miles an hour. It's not going to be like Lake Charles where it looks like a bomb went off in the city, but more, you're going to have your weaker roofs getting some damage, some shingles getting ripped off. Again, the weaker roofs might rip off entirely, tree damage, power lines down, all that stuff. And then probably low chance for a tornado is right along the coast, as the typical area where tornadoes are going to be more focused in Florida. And again, it's moderate for storm surge across the area. High would only be, I'm going to say high for storm surge only for like a Katrina level event, which I don't think this is going to be. And then the main impacts, the highest impacts for all this, Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening across Gulfport and Biloxi, Mississippi. Again, this is likely where Derek is going to be heading right now. We don't have an exact location. This is generally where we're heading. Again, we try to get into the eye of the hurricane and get those most intense impacts, much like we did with Laura. So wherever they're going to end up being, they will update, of course, where they're going to be at. I'll try to do a city impacts for where Derek specifically will be for the storm. We got Mobile, Alabama, fairly similar to what we're seeing for Biloxi and Gulfport. And again, this may change if we have a further to the east landfall. Low for storm surge right now, pushes a little further to the east, closer to Mobile. There'd be higher storm surge potential. High flooding, again, high flooding is going to be a big deal. Ton of rain with this. Lower on the wind damage. Again, this could change if things get a little closer to Mobile, and low for tornadoes as well. And then main impacts Tuesday afternoon. And finally for New Orleans. New Orleans is looking like they were in the bullseye yesterday, but things are shifting east of you guys. And with that, things are changing as well. You should still see quite a bit of flooding, rain. Storm surge can be moderate here again, and that's going to be primarily tonight and tomorrow, as just the way the storm, where the wind's pushing everything. So high flooding, moderate storm surge, low on the wind damage scale. I think you're only going to see tropical storm force winds in New Orleans, and then low for that tornado threat. And this is mostly going to be tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and things will be wrapping up tomorrow evening across the New Orleans area. So that's what we have so far for all your updates with Hurricane Sandy. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you follow our Facebook page and hit see first, because we will be doing live cut-ins for the storm down in coastal Mississippi, or wherever we end up setting up shop for landfall. We'll be doing live streams from there. We'll be doing more video updates as we get closer to Hurricane Sally's landfall, and then Instagram and Twitter at HillTrace. Go search all of that, and for all the content we have there. We got some Instagram stories and stuff going on with that. Give us a call, 855-334-4245, and then your comments, questions, or concerns. You're new to HillTrace, whatever it may be, give us a call. Email us or visit our website at hilltrace.com for more details. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Again, we'll be having updates, whether it's from here in the green screen in Oklahoma City or down on location as we get closer to Hurricane Sally's arrival. Stay here. We'll be sending graphic updates and, again, live updates on location through this evening and all day tomorrow through the event. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Keep an eye, make sure you're paying attention on Facebook, because we'll be doing those updates and live streams then. We'll see you later.